Hi, in this lesson you'll continue to learn about methods, specifically how to write them. In a previous lesson, you looked at how constructors are used to set the initial state of an object. As a reminder, the state of an object refers to the values of its attributes. In this lesson, you're going to look at how you can create the behaviors of an object, which come from the methods written in the object's class. Before getting into writing methods, let's review the parts of a method. The first line of code is the method header. We'll walk through the specifics of the header in a moment. The second part of the method is the method code block, or body of a method. As a review, a block of code is any section of code enclosed in curly brackets. The method code block has all the code that will run when the method is called. Let's review the four parts of a method header. The method name. The method name should follow these naming conventions. It should start with the letter, $, or underscore, describe the method task, and should be written in lower camel case. Next to the method name are the parameters. Remember that parameters allow the method to receive external values and use them to accomplish its specific task. In front of the method name is the return type. There are two types of methods, non-void methods and void methods. A non-void method returns a single value and its method header includes the return type, like int. A void method does not return a value, and its method header includes the word void to note this. Finally, the method header starts with a visibility statement, which can either be public or private. A public method allows access from classes outside the declaring class, and a private method restricts access to only inside the declaring class. You will usually set the visibility to public, but there are times when you might want to set a method as private, such as creating a helper method within a class. Here's the start of a student class. This class has two attributes, name and numVol_hours, or number of volunteer hours, as well as a constructor. Let's add some methods to define the behaviors of the student objects. Let's start by writing a method to have the student introduce themselves. This method will be accessible outside of the student class, so its visibility should be public. The method will print a statement that says hi in their name, which means there won't be a need to return a value, and so its return type is void. Next is the method name, which will be introduce. And last is the parameters. This method doesn't need any external information, so no parameters are needed. Inside the method body, you'll include a print statement that has the person introduce themselves. Now, in a caller class, like the main class, you can create a student object named Claire and call the introduce method. When run, the program will print, "Hi, I'm Claire." One weekend, Claire volunteers at our local food bank for 2 hours. She is excited because now she has 14 volunteer hours. So you add this line of code to update the value of the numVol_hours instance variable. But you get an error that says numVol_hours has private access in student. This is because the numVol_hours attribute is set to private in the student class. So this scenario might make you wonder, if instance variables are supposed to be private, how can you allow other classes to access and update these values? This is the purpose of Accessor and mutator methods. Accessor and mutator methods are common instance methods that allow other classes to access and change an object's instance variables in a controlled manner. You've actually already used these methods throughout the course so far. Let's take another look at each type. Accessor methods, or getter methods, allow you to obtain the value of an instance or class variable. You can add an accessor method to the student class like this. This getter method enables other classes to access the numVol_hours variable. Let's take a look at some of the components of an accessor method. An accessor method is a non-void method whose return type matches the target instance variable. It returns a copy of the instance variable, and its name typically starts with get and then the variable name, hence the term getter methods. Mutator methods or setter methods allow you to change the value of an instance or class variable. You can add a mutator method to the student class like this. This mutator method enables you to change the value of the numVol_hours variable. Let's take a closer look at this method. A mutator method is a void method. It usually has a parameter for the new value. In this example, the parameter is an integer for the new number of volunteer hours. And it uses the parameter to update the value of the target instance variable. Classes usually have many getter and setter methods based on the number and purpose of each instance variable. For example, in this student class, it makes sense to have getter and setter methods for the name and volunteer hours instance variables so that you can access and update these values. Before you start writing your own methods, let's walk through one more method in the student class that has a parameter and a return value. Here you have the student class with an additional method, checkHours. Students are required to complete a certain amount of volunteer hours, and this method determines how many more hours a student has left to meet the requirements. In the main method, let's again create a student object, Claire, who starts with 12 volunteer hours. Then create a variable that stores the number of required volunteer hours, and call its checkHours method and print the results. Let's walk through what happens when this method is called. The method call passes in the required hours variable as an argument, which has a value of 100. Next, the method updates the value of the required hours parameter by subtracting the current value of numVal hours. Based on the current values of these variables, this expression is 100 minus 12. As a result, the required hours variable in the checkHours method is assigned a value of 88. Note that even though the value of required hours is changed in the method, the original value in the main class is unaltered and remains equal to 100. This is because when an argument is a primitive value, the parameter variable is a copy of that value. This means that changes to the parameter have no effect on the corresponding argument. To see this represented in computer memory, when the variable is being created in the main method, it creates a location in memory for this variable. Then when the method is called and the parameter is declared and initialized, the copied value is stored in a different memory location. The two variables just happen to have the same name, required hours, in this example, but they are two independent copies. When the parameter changes in the method body, the value stored at the second memory location changes without impacting the original variable in the main class. With that in mind, the method now returns the parameter required hours. Java checks to make sure the return value, which is 88 here, is consistent with the method's return type, which is specified as an int in the method header. These match, so 88 is returned. This is referred to as return by value. This value replaces the method call. From there, the value of 88 is printed to the console. Now that you know all about writing methods, it's your turn to give it a try.